Hi, my name is Marcos, and I'm here at the offices of E.C.U Automotive Electronics in Buenos Aires. Today we're going to have a look at their FULLPROB test bench. I grew up in Los Angeles, California, and I've been living in Argentina since 2005. I first met the guys at E.C.U at an automotive electronics seminar in 2015 that they gave in a small town where I live. I had never thought about the fact that there could be automotive electronics specialists, but about 20 people showed up to the course. It turns out that they have hundreds of customers in Argentina. They've got customers on all 5 continents, in the United States, in Asia, throughout Latin America, in Europe. And all of these customers are using the FULLPROB to bench test automotive electronics. So you might ask, why are so many people bench testing ECUs? Sometimes you just can't tell what the problem is using a scanner alone. You might know what part of the system is failing, but spend hours and hours trying to figure out if the problem is a faulty wire, a faulty sensor, or if the ECU is bad. Other times there are problems with headlights or wipers or another function of the body computer. With the FULLPROB, you can pull electronics out of the vehicle and test them on the bench to know if they're working properly. You can test the ECU. You can connect the body computer to a scanner and see if the problem is coming from that module. You can pull a sensor and check what signal it's sending. You can check how the throttle body is behaving if you think that that's the problem. The FULLPROB is a powerful tool for diagnosing any problem you think is coming from the electronics. Once you've found the problem, sometimes the best solution is to repair the unit, and the FULLPROB can help you do that. It has images that show you where to find the main components on the circuit board. It has summarized information from their datasheet so that you can check how the components are working with a tester or an oscilloscope. It has diagrams that lead you to critical passive components that might be affecting how the main components are working. It has a table of alternate names for the components and replacements so that you can try to purchase them and make a repair. It has a list of possible donor ECUs where you can find the component in case it's hard to get. That's a lot of useful information in the case that you decide to repair the circuit board. The FULLPROB workbench allows you to interconnect all of the modules in the immobilizer system. Then you can use a scanner to pair them. And if you've been modifying files or making any other modifications to the electronics, you can check that everything is running properly before reinstalling them in the vehicle. That was just a quick overview of some of the many ways that automotive electronics professionals use their FULLPROB workbench in order to solve both simple and complex problems. Now I'm going to show you what it's like to work with a FULLPROB test bench. Let's start by hooking up an ECU. Here we have a Magneti Marelli IAW9GV. First, we'll look for the system in the main menu. The connection assistant gives us the information we need to hook up the ECU using color-coded cables and photos of the connectors. First, we'll power up terminal 15. We can check the main relay and fuel pump relay on the test screen. We can also check the 5 volts of the sensors, and we can see if there are any abnormal currents that might indicate a faulty component. All of the startup parameters, including the crankshaft signals and the camshaft signals, are pre-configured. So all you have to do is turn up the RPM and see if the unit is working. We can see the injection and ignition pulses on the test screen. If you're using a full diesel with your FULLPROB, you'll be able to follow this exact same process with both direct injection ECUs and with diesel ECUs. The full diesel has all of the sensors and all the valves that you need in order to test these more complex systems. What happens if you want to bench test a system that's not in the FULLPROB coverage? Our technical team is on call from Monday to Friday. All you have to do is click on the support button and upload a few photos and information about the system. They will get to work as soon as possible, and upload the new system to the software and help you get it running on the bench. The FULLPROB software has a whole library of information for anyone who wants to try to repair an ECU. If the problem is in the vehicle and you have it at your shop, you can use the other menus to check sensors, activate valves and injectors, throttle bodies, simulate sensors. You can look up the wiring diagrams, all sorts of information to help you solve the problem. FULLPROB also has a body computer test function. With the help of a full diesel and a scanner, you can run tests on the body computer to check functions like lights and wipers. The body module menu has similar information about the electronics that will help you make a repair. You can see where all of the main components are and their names. Now let's talk about the accessories that we have on our FULLPROB workbench. And we're going to start out with the full diesel. In all modern vehicles, the ECU and other modules in the immobilizer system need to get a signal from the key before the vehicle will start running. Our test bench needs a full diesel or an IMMO box to interconnect all of the other modules to get the ECU to run properly on the workbench, exactly as it would in the vehicle. The full diesel not only generates the extra signals we need to run a diesel or a direct injection ECU on the bench, it also allows us to interconnect all of the other electronic modules and connect them to an OBD port tool like a scanner or a programmer and test that everything's running on the bench. Now let's talk about these two accessories, the gasoline and the diesel emulator. Some ECUs have software that automatically shuts down some of the outputs if they don't detect a load coming from the injectors or the ignition coils. The emulators simulate the loads that would be applied to the ECU in its normal running conditions. So with these accessories, we can get all ECUs to run properly on the bench. Sometimes an ECU only fails when a driver starts to heat up. Many times these faulty components don't heat up if there's no load. That's another reason we need an emulator if we have an automotive electronics laboratory. You might wonder, why don't we just connect injectors or coils directly to the ECU? Connecting the coils is extremely risky. It's easy to do more damage than good with a stray spark. Always protect your customer's ECU and your own tools by using a gasoline emulator. Diesel ECUs need to be connected to compatible injectors, and the diesel emulator emulates all piezoelectric as well as all types of inductive injectors. That just makes it much more practical than pulling injectors from the vehicle. On top of that, we can work without having vehicles in our shop. So let's sum up everything you need on your automotive electronics test bench. You need a full probe in order to generate the signals and to check the outputs of the ECUs. You need a full diesel in order to generate the extra signals and check the extra outputs that you'd find on a diesel ECU or on a direct injection ECU. And you need the emulators in order to generate the loads that the ECU needs to see that would come from the coils or from the injector. The FULLPROB software comes with a whole library of information that you might need in order to repair an ECU or a body computer or another module. It also has an online support button that puts you in contact directly with our technical team. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel in order to see videos of the jobs that we do using our FULLPROB. Thanks for watching.